We're talking second round battleground here. Okay.
So is this based off of?
You would have needed to both lose or both win. And a return for these guys to the Super Series. It's been a while, but they've never met before in arm wrestling competition, and it's safe to say that not on the favourite arm of either man.
Yeah. Well, I don't like it when people say it's not my favorite arm. I have a very good time with it. So in that way, it's my favorite to have fun with. Yeah. No stress with this one. No worries with this one. Yeah.
Breakdown capability-wise, mate. Where, if you were saying percentage-wise in terms of top-end strength, how does your left, you feel, compare? Just for a reality perspective checker for the guys out there watching the show.
So if you have a racetrack and you have my right hand and my left hand going up against each other, believe it or not, my left hand is probably going to get out of the gates faster. You know? And if we think that arm wrestling is won by these small amounts, my left is very, very dangerous right at the beginning. Very dangerous. Just the way it is, just the way my body's made, the way my training is. My left hand out of the gates is probably more dangerous than my right, but it only stays that way for probably about an eighth of a second. And then
are you a left-hander? Do you write left-handed? Or
when I was a kid, they made me put my pencil in my right hand. So I am right-handed, but I write very sloppily. And I started with my left, but in school they made me switch.
So you had a natural propensity to go for the left arm within that kind of stuff?
Natural propensity, however, I throw right. And that's not something that I was taught, right? Like I throw right for sure. Right is definitely, like when you swing a bat, that's a right-handed hitter. When I stack wood, I carry with my left. This
numbers
one.
game, Devon. Gym, you're going to pick up.
I don't pick up anything.
Reps?
I don't pick up
but
anything.
But if you did, have you
my
ever
right
done
hand
sort of
has
metric
always
test
been like when you went back 4 or 5 years. My left was always a little bit weaker.
Yeah.
Always a little bit weaker. Yeah.
What are we looking at with yourself, mate? A similar story, or?
It's the first time now, but I'm not injured, so.
Yet we know
looking good.
That if you wind the clock back a few years to the peak of Terence Opperman, when you were popping up all over the place in Nemiroff World Cup, A1, WAF Worlds, we saw you make the final of the World Championships on the left arm.
Yes.
And it's fair to say you did a bit of an MF Chef, a bit of a Sandra Sheddish. You came as close as you could possibly come to having that gold medal around your neck without actually getting it around your neck. You recall that quite well, Devon.
Interesting, notable sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Very notable. Yeah, I remember at the time I reached out to you and told you how impressed I was. I remember that. Remember I sent you that message?
You did?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. You can break my arm. It's okay. I'll be happy if you break my arm. So don't stop.
Don't stop.
The weirdest thing is he actually mean?
No, I do for sure. I'll be happy if you break my arm.
You want to tell them what happened? Because I don't know.
Yeah, in the final of the World Championships, Terence went into the World Championship final in Brazil on the B side with one loss against his name. Now, just names of note in getting to that final. Why don't you tell these guys who you beat to get to the final on the left arm that day?
Yeah, Vasily Dachvili, Truben, Dmitry Truben, and
so Dachvili and Trubin fell that day on the left arm. Big names for hardcore arm wrestling fans. You'll know exactly who he's talking about. Dmitry Trubin, the Dmitry Trubin of Top 8 fame, went down that day to this man on the left arm.
Yes.
Then in the final itself, Terence levelled the score in the first start with, I'm going to say ease, Dev. It looked very, very comfortable on the inside. Second match for the outright win, I'm going to say appeared to pin them up. I'm going to be honest with you, looked very much to me like it was a pin. I don't think anybody would have complained actually if the match had been called as a pin. No. It was paper thin decision, but according to you, Terence, you said you felt something break in the guy's arm. Clearly you're not...
Even hear it, you can hear like an arm break.
And you, I mean, as you can clearly see on the video, you jump up and grab the guy's arm,
Grab
really
his arm.
concerned, like, whoa, you know, his arm broke. Just walk us through that. What?
Yes. Yeah, well, every time after the match, every person I spoke to said, why did you stop? Why didn't you just break his arm? And I know even Devon, if you can see an arm break in front of you, will try to do the best for the sport, not for yourself. So yeah, I stopped and grabbed his arm. And I thought at that time, he didn't know his arm is broken. I thought the adrenaline took over and there's something serious wrong in his arm. I went up to the referees, I wanted to tell them, I said, this guy doesn't know his arm is broken. So that's the sound I heard. So I was convinced it was an arm break. So yeah, and then we restarted. The restart after that. And I just wanted to go slow so he doesn't get more injuries. And he came up for a very high press and he pressed right through my arm very fast.
So you went on with the silver medal that day.
Yes, and third right.
On a day when you otherwise would have gone home with a gold.
Yes, yeah.
And through that period of time, Devon, from your perspective, were you very aware of Terence and Terence's evolution, is the right word, in the sport? Because he came from a standing start. The first time I recall seeing you at Worlds was maybe 2005, 2006, thereabouts. Meteoric rise, man. Meteoric rise.
I would say that if I had been pulling WAF during that time period, good chance I would have been in the 100 kilo.
Yeah.
You know, I walked around about 245, so I probably would have cut to 100 kilo. So I kept close eye on that division in WAF. I totally know who Terence was. South Africa was a bit quiet. All of Africa is a bit quiet. Terence was really the guy from the whole continent. And yeah, it was really notable what happened. Like, I knew he was already, but what happened in 2012 really put him on the map for me, you know, because it was obvious from a fan perspective watching the match that he was the guy, and you know, through, you know, him being a good dude, you know, cost him the gold medal the first time, letting go after he thought the guy was injured, and then, you know, clearly, you know, easing off a little bit, and from there, you know, opening himself up to defeat. It was very notable. I think a lot of people saw it as a greater victory than the gold medal itself, but you know, gone away for a while. Now he's back. I'm super happy. I think I reached out a while ago to him, you know, because I'd love to see the sport get more active in Africa, and having Terence come back, I think it's just great for the whole area, you know. But I'm still gonna beat you, buddy. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We'll see.
I apologize already.
Don't apologize, because I have so many pins on some real champions. So I think you must just be careful, not too confident. There might be one or two pins there.
Yeah, could be.
I know it's a body arm, but this body arm of mine is not bad.
Well, I hope you get to me, because you have a really tough guy.
Yeah, I do.
I think that you have the harder opponent, actually.
Yes, I do.
I do think you do. My guy is probably stronger everywhere, but I think your guy's strong where it matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the setup, I think is going to be difficult for you. I think that his set neutral position is very rigid and strong.
Yeah.
To get in against him, or a stop, I think if you can get a stop, I think you're gonna win. But I think it's gonna be a challenge for you. He's a big, strong kid. I arm wrestled him like 5 years ago, and already he showed a lot of promise already. Yeah, and he's much bigger.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Just taking a moment to consider the evolution of arm wrestling, Devon. And I know you're a big believer that this sport is evolving, moving forward at the top level on the depth perspective. You've never met before, have you?
No.
So now you're here, and you are a bigger version of you to the guy who's here for Dark Cloud. you sat opposite Terence and you're looking at the guy physically. There's been some real changes in terms of your physicality, particularly in your hand and wrist, the area of the hand and wrist. It's fair to say that Terence is overdeveloped in that forearm department, but do you see anything here that concerns you at all looking at Terence? Is he big enough?
No. Sorry.
Still not.
No. I don't think so. I don't think so. Unfortunately, I don't think so. I think could be interesting. Could be interesting. The first couple of rounds might be interesting. I think my hand will be too much. That's what I think. I think my hand is just going to be too much. Left hand or right hand, I think too much. And from there, I think there just won't be a lot of option. That's my honest assessment. Much respect.
Yeah.
But I think it will be difficult task. Yeah.
And in terms of technical options, throughout your career, we always spoke about the fact that you had a great range of opportunity where you take the match. Is that the same situation on the left as it is on the right, or would you say that's really harnessed to the right and not necessarily the left? Have you got a very specific lane left-handed?
I had the left and the right are different in what they like to do and what they can do. My right is absolutely my better hand. It absolutely is. My left has a couple very nice tricks, and I don't mind sharing them. I don't mind. I have a very fast top roll, with or without the strap, and I have a fast hook with or without the strap. My press takes longer to engage with my left than it does my right. My king's move is not as sharp in my left as it is with my right, but it's there.
Really, I've not seen you use that much.
The kings?
Yeah.
In my left?
On the left, I've not seen you use it much.
Yeah, through a sandwich.
I would have said, yeah, I thought that was less you going for it, more him put you there and you're in desperate
well, that's how it goes.
mode.
Oh yeah, that is.
But it isn't with the right.
Well,
You're very go-to move.
Absolutely.
Whereas with the left, it seemed like you started orthodox and then you got on the red line.
It's very true. It's very true. The left doesn't really want to go there as its primary. My left is more normal. It's a top rolling hooking arm. Yeah, top roll hook without strap, and I can hit from a less established position. With my right, I really like to establish a position, whereas with my left, I can float really well.
Have you worked as hard in, like you're the party arm, right? But when you go to your mammoth sessions, the day you did the silly session in Germany and you went nuts, pulled everybody, maybe the most that anybody's ever arm wrestled on a single day.
Probably.
What do you do left-handed? You ever have that day on the left?
No, the left is more like my breather arm. Everything about my training, be it in the gym, it's exclusive right, but even on the table, it's focused right. So the focus is on my right hand, I'll stack right, stack right, stack right, right gets burned out, a little bit of left. Right again, left, right, stack right, stack right, stack right, left, right. My left is my breather. Yeah. So it's around. It does not have that capability. It doesn't. But the thing is, it's a good thing and a bad thing,
Does it fatigue, Dev?
Yes. Yeah, my left can fatigue. Absolutely it can. I'm very well aware that the conditioning of my left is not what it has been with my right. However, it's faster.
Yeah.
It's 100% faster. It's 100% more responsive. The tension gets picked up quicker. The acceleration is faster. Like, I can hit better. The requirement for a set for me to feel good is not there. I can hit almost from any position. So my left has its advantages. I don't worry about my left. My left is not, I don't get the same kind of pressures in my left as I do my right. My right, I have anxiety. I get worried, I think about it, I obsess about it. My left, I don't think about it. It's just here. It's here for the good time. Yeah.
Looking at his opponent in the first round, he's talked about you having to get through Daniel. Is it a difficult task for him to come through the walking wall? He's got to get through Minda Gustulskas, biggest man in the event, 140 plus kilos. Do you think that he could be the guy that doesn't make it through to pull you?
I think we're going to get out in the same shape. I think we're going to still be have enough in the gas tank to go another 6 rounds. I don't see struggling too much of him. I think his hand is too strong. I felt him a little bit in the strap before the time. But as we're talking weaknesses, if you're gonna go into a king's move on your left hand, I'll pin you. If you go into a hook on the left hand, I'll pin you as well.
Oh, I love to hear this stuff. I mean, I just was criticized for playing with my food too much, so perhaps I'll just make this an easy day. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward. I need another pin on a legend, so I need
Does
one.
it concern you that, you know, if you look at who he's beaten and the left arm pedigree, you've just pulled Sandris. Sandris ran you relatively close on the left arm. You absolutely dominated on the right, and yet the left you looked more human. Do you think you're equidistant in terms of your level with Sandris Sherris? Do you think you could be stronger than Sandris Sherris?
To be honest, my training partners in South Africa competed against Sanders now at East versus West 7. And he stopped Sanders in the middle of the table. And I have no problem with that guy. Nothing against him. He's my training partner. He knows he doesn't mind if I tell him that, the guys that. So I think I got a little bit out of that.
Do you think that Sandris represented a greater threat on the left than Terence does?
I mean, I don't know. I think that you are going to have a great match with the Latvian stud.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have a good match with him when you meet up, and I'll know even more after we pull.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sandris, we talked about it. He probably is in your future.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to imagine that you and Sandris don't meet somewhere down the tracks.
We'll have to.
In the present, here, today, it's about to go down. Second round, we could see you guys go head to head. Confidence barometer check right now, Terence. You know what's in front of you. You know you start with Daniel. You then potentially, you face either the walking wall or you face this guy. Firstly, who would you like to face? Who do you want to come through?
Yes, definitely. Get opportunity pull against the legend. So, yeah.
And is this a case of be careful what you wish for, Devon? Or should he hope that Duskus does you?
I understand what it's like to chase, a great target. It's what the sport's all about. I'm glad that I represent that for you, and I'm going to be happy to show you where the level is.
That's good.
Yeah.
Ladies and gents, no limits, Devon Larratt Terence Opperman. The Battleground, round 2. If this thing goes down, who have you got?
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck.
Here we go. So, let's just toss for sides for left arm.
Yeah. If it drops, heads.
Go on my hand. Ready?
Okay, then tails. Heads.
You want your hand facing the referee, back of your hand facing the referee, or back of your hand away from
No,
the
one the referee, please.
back of your hand facing the ref?
Back of your hand facing the referee.
Yes.
The back of your hand facing the referee.
You get the buckle. Oh,
Okay,
I
so
get
that's
a buckle.
You get the
I get a buckle. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll see why.
What kind of voodoo magic are you working?
You'll see why.
Okay, all right, okay.